you. Now we move on to the last speaker. Unfortunately, I was told that the Guido Di Pasquale is not going to be present. So we move to UIC, Jean-Michel, please. You go there? Okay.
Voilà. Good morning, everybody. So, next slide, please. Just to see what there is in this package. Okay. So I will start by presenting rapidly UIC. So UIC, Union International of Railways. So I'm sure a lot of people know, but in case. It's an association regrouping the majority, not the totality, but a very big majority of the railways over the world, not only in Europe, but also outside of Europe. So it's more than today, it's something like 250 members because it's an association. So you find in this association practically all the European railways, with some exception that you can count on a hand. And so UIC is now an old lady of 100 years. 100 years this next year. So we will celebrate the centenary of UIC. UIC has been historically a major actor in the development of railways all over the planet. Pushing for railways, and that was very interesting, the exchange before about the situation of railways some 50 years ago was exactly different from today, as it was said, of course. And now UIC is focusing, I would say, on three major aspects, because the world is changing, the world has evolved, there is a lot of things. So first of all, continuing to promote the railways all over the world, and the good things of the railways, and also to say when there are some other stuff to improve. The second thing is about having a role on the standardization chain with a role dedicated to specification, that we try to dedicate more and more on specification, user requirements. It's about usage of things. Why are we doing application, new systems, these sort of things for users? The users are the railways. And so we are concentrating much more on that, and you will see that with some examples. And the third thing is to focus on some specific programs of common interest for the railway sector. So some specific programs, not everything because it's so large, but some very specific programs. And so I will give some examples very quickly today. So you see there in alignment with the thematics of today, design a better future, because this is a motto we have developed for the centenary of UIC, because all we are speaking about competitivity, this sort of thing, strengthening the railway, and it's about what? It's about designing a better future, not only for having company more with more customers or more freight or more whatever, but it's above all to have a better future for everything, for everybody. And clearly, the three things we want to push and that we have put at the heart of our activities more and more is about the sustainability, which is a very important thematics, both sense. First, it is a thematics to develop the railway ID. I think it's clear for everybody. But it's also something we have to develop for other reasons. So it's not only an argument, it's also an objective. Okay? Promoting intermodality for two reasons as well. You will have this intermodality, so you have to decide where is the backbone somewhere. And we do think in the railway industry that we can be that backbone, but other things, they can be also that backbone. So we have to be cautious, and we have to prove. There is not only words of love, there is also proof of love. So we have to prove that we are capable to develop this intermodality and the famous seamless connection. And something which is very important, because we do think, we don't like to say it, but we do think that today the customer experience of railways has probably to be improved in a lot of cases, without entering in all the details of all the network, but we have to work on that. So transforming customer experience is global. It's not only automatization, it's not only technical thing, but it's also quality of service in general. So it's not only a question of technology. It's a global thing that we have to do. So all these three things together, after that you will need to make them happen. You have different enablers. I will not enter in the category of social enablers or management enablers, because they are important also. But we'll speak today very quickly on technical enablers, because we from Railways by history we are very engineering oriented, so we like technical things. Okay. And I like technical things also, so no problem on that. So first thing we discussed about digitalization, automation. That's very important that we do these things, but every time that we are doing this thing, we have to understand that we do this thing not for themselves, but for a result, which is outside of themselves. It's for enhancing customer experience, promoting intermodality, and making a clean energy and clean world. Okay, 5G introduction, which will be the enabler for practically all the traffic management evolution. Could be the regional networks we were speaking about, could be the high-speed networks, whatever, ATO, all these things, level 3, RTMS, TCMS, blah, blah, blah. I have a list. Okay, but all for that you need an enabler, and the enabler will be the 5G. But again, 5G is not an objective in itself. No interest. The interest is what you will do with it. Okay, digital twin, something very important that the railway is discovering this year. That's something that other industries have discovered 20 years ago. We are a bit late on that one. So we have to develop that in order to have a sort of convergence and commonality of thinking and modeling and designing of things. That's an element of convergence. I think that everybody understands that we have to go not for national solutions, but much more for international solutions, which is very important in the world where we are living in terms of cost of ownerships and in terms of management and experience and these sort of things. One element of that is when you design the system, when you control the system, when you monitor the system, is to have a common way of describing them. And this is called digital twin. Artificial intelligence will enter into railways, so there is a lot of experiences all over the world on that, in Europe precisely, on it, the small things with IoTs, with sensors, with a lot of things, with those, software, blah, blah. Okay, a lot of things. We have to develop a more consistent view of artificial intelligence. That's one of the difficulties of the railways, is when they have to take on board new technologies coming from the external world, they need to learn on that. They are very good for the things they have developed for one century. They are exceptional for that. But for new technology, they have to take the people, to take the knowledge, to take the market view of it. And that's the sort of things we have to work on. The famous cyber risk at the end, we have to work on it. All that to accelerate the innovation cycle. Next slide, please. There are two bubble boxes, so if you can press. And there is also one green, I think. Okay. Smart backbone for mobility. Okay, that's clearly what we have discussed in the morning in this round table. So I will not enter again into the details. I think it was sufficiently covered today. Next slide, please. What I told you, I wanted to tell you, we are not only speaking, but we are doing, as you see, some of the stuff. And I wanted to take 4 examples here of things we are trying to do for the common interest of railways. Okay, the first one, we spoke about it, FRMCS program, large program for replacement of GSMR, but moreover, enabling the new things of automation in traffic management, in control, in remote surveillance, a lot of things in video application that will come on board in the next future. Okay, a lot of things. Even you cannot imagine what will be the usage of 5G and after the next one. Okay, it's like everything. When you give an enabler on a technology on a market, you have some objective, you develop something, and after users are inventing new concepts. Of course, ETCS will go, ERTMS level 3 will go on that one. Of course, ATO will go on that one. But what I would like to see is other application improving the customer experience and improving the quality of service of the trains, going also on this future enabler. Freight, a lot of things to say. We spoke of the DAC, which is a certain vision of the things. There is a lot of dimensions. This is the difficulty of the railway system. It's a very complex system. One of the dimensions is also the management of the system itself. Do you know that the rail services, the rail management of the system all over Europe is totally different between countries? And so that's a barrier at the entrance of new actors, of new business, of new things. So you have to align the way you operate, the way you manage, the way you treat the information, at least between companies, and how you do open it to the external world, to the famous channel of redistribution of freight, all these sort of things. It's a business, a complex business. Some other industry are much well organized, much better organized than us. And so we have to reorganize that one. And one of the elements is to put together user requirement and at the end applications, computer application, telecom application, whatever you want, but you have to construct all this chain to have a sort of alignment of services, alignment of management between companies in Europe to make the famous SIRA, Single European Railway Area, we were speaking about 5 minutes ago. So UIC is concentrating on that today. It's concentrating on trying to put together a global, what we call a digital freight platform. This acronym means that it's a 12 selected application, very useful for the future to fluidify, to make more flexible the management and the operations of freight. Okay? Passengers. So again, there is a lot of things on passengers. It's about technicality of the rail system itself, about the future automation, about, okay, all that will bring a lot of things for sure. There is also the problem of ticketing. Because if we want to go to intermodality, first of all, we should be capable to have a ticket between France and another country, for example. Okay? We have to make sure that one day we'll be capable to have a ticket which is a door-to-door, including taxi, including bus, including whatever. That's precisely what we are working on in UIC. It's OSDM. It's existing today. First element of OSDM, which is international ticketing, is existing. It's all over protocol, but it's more than a protocol. It's a system that many companies start to adopt in all over Europe. That has been developed, of course, with all the railways in Europe. It's very concrete. At the end of the day, it's a tool. Okay? And so the next step will be to increase the tool to other channels, to other modes of transport progressively. Digital modeling, I was speaking of that. That's the famous digital twin. So what is the problem here? The problem is that, as a lot of things in railway, as I always say, each nation in railway is made of genius. I mean, they have developed in each country incredible things all over the years. The problem is that these things are different. And believe me, they did exactly the same for digital modeling. Not at the level of countries, but at the level of different organisms. So think in digital modeling as a language. And imagine, I'm speaking English today in France, which is always funny because I'm French, as it was said. In English, in German, in Czech. So digital modeling is exactly the same. You have different languages. And the problem is, at the end of the day, if somebody has developed something in a language and another one in another language, you are incapable to regroup them. Or it's a nightmare to regroup them. So clearly, we have to go for a global, what we call conceptual data model, which is a unique or a convergent interoperability between different modeling existing today. Because again, the idea is not to put in the dustbin, as I like to say, the things that have been invested for the last 20 years, but trying to regroup them and to take the benefit of what is existing with a minimum of problems. And clearly, that's the objective. That's typically what we are working in UIC today with two initiatives which are called Railway System Model, which is a conceptual data model regrouping different existing modeling that digital twins, and also a global ontology. It's a bit complex. It's the things of modeling. It's what we call the ontology of rail, which is permitting to compare all these systems together. The objective is what? At the end of the day is to have a global system, a global describing system for all the aspects and all the dimensions of the railway. This is with that you will have the management of your asset. That's with that you will be capable to manage a project and to make it evolve, to have an informatic description of the thing and to give it to another provider, to another company, to everybody can understand the thing. Okay, so today it's absolutely not the situation, but we have this ambition on working on that, and this is that will be a very key project embedded in Shift Rail next generation, and so we will bring all what we have, because that's the vocation also of UIC. What we are doing is for the railway, so if it is useful for the railway, we will bring in to Shift Rail and participate to the thing in a complete transparency, because there is no atmosphere of competition here. Or if there is, we should kill it immediately. Next slide, please. So, for example, we spoke of that on different aspects. So I wanted to have this famous V-cycle. We say we have to all to work together. Okay, it has to be organized, and the other industry have showed us the way a lot of tens of years ago, which is the famous V-cycle, and that a lot of people know from other industries. Okay. And the beauty of this V-cycle is that is telling you where is the collaboration. When you define the user requirements, when you define the concept of operations, it's about the user, it's about the railways. For other users, because it's a B2B business, it's a B2C business in the case of railways. So you start with that. That's typically the kind of things where UIC is positioning. Is defining the specification. You have to define what you want to do with the things. After, you need to be more precise. You need what you call I like to call building blocks, common building blocks, or system approach, which is linked to other things that have been done in the same industry or in another industry. And that is where standardization organization have to be the leader for me. And for us. After, you have the step of manufacturers. When the standardization is finished, of course, manufacturers and railways are participating in the other approach, in the other phases, but there are some pilots somewhere. It's not the same pilot at the same time. When you are speaking about product development, it's clear that the pilot is the manufacturing industry. And after, you continue with system verification, and you finish with operation and maintenance, and there, you are back with the users. So this V-cycle is very simple concept, which is eternally used by a lot of industries, but at least it shows you that the collaboration is clear. But collaboration doesn't mean bazaar or mess. It means also that you have some responsibility, and you have to take care of who is doing what. For example, a manufacturer cannot do railway requirements, and railway requirements should not develop a product. I take these two examples because these two examples exist. It's not by beauty of the demonstration. It's just because it's existing today still. So we should try to be more clear on these sort of things. Next slide, please. I wanted to finish with a very positive example, because I said things at the same time positive and sometimes that could be perceived as negative, but with a lot of optimism in my mind. So these things negative will become positive at one point of time. And I wanted to finish with something very positive in terms of collaboration. So I'm sorry we are with our partner from Senelec today, but this one is more on ETSI, which is another important organism of standardization in Europe, as you know. And you have here the global list of specification of the future FRMCS, which is starting to be not a lot future, so we need maybe to change the name, the F, because in some time it will not be future anymore, it will be existing. So you have the list of specification, and this is very important because you see where all the collaboration can happen in that one. It's a real case, it's real documents, it's real work, It's a lot of people behind that. Okay? UIC, first column, sorry for that. First column is about specification. 3GPP, international standardization, because in mobility telecom, HC is not sufficient. We need to have a worldwide view because FMCS will be a worldwide system, not only for Europe. That's why we need 3GPP. HC, European things, because there are particularities that we will need for Europe. So all these documents are aligned all together. The people working on all these things are speaking together by this time every day, no? More or less, in order to align everything. But one not doing the job of the others, which is very important. After you have some specific system requirement that we put also. We decided all together in this program to put it in the hands of UIC, but with the contribution of manufacturers, of everybody. Okay. ICT 053, which is a European project with all the manufacturers relevant in the terms of telecoms that will produce the test and the products. This slide is on specification, but they are also there. Also, you have at the end the all what is frequency management, because at the end of the day, for communication, you need frequency management. So also you have to partner with this sort of organism. So I wanted to finish with that. This program will be successful as the GSMR has been successful 20 years ago. Probably the technology is the most adopted in a convergent way by the railway in the world, GSMR, which is quite strange, but this is the same GSMR we have in all the country. It is seamless interoperability all over Europe. Not a lot of problem, you don't hear a lot of it, because there is no issue. FMCS will be the same, and the success of that will be by the complementarity of the people. Clearly, it's not UIC doing everything, not at all. It's UIC with other people like HC, like manufacturers, and everybody has interest on that and is doing his right job. We have to, I'm pushing a lot for that in UIC and externally, that we take this sort of model and we externalize it to other cases. Thank you very much for your attention.